All right, here we go again. Buckle up. So the Watch Children side, I wasn't going to get online here, but the Watch Children came on with Psychic Inference. I haven't seen that in a while. So that means that the children are at risk. So again, heal the children, and if you're looking, look around. Don't imagine things. And don't use it to harm people. But if you think something's legitimate, do what you need to do. Call the police, heal it, talk to your neighbor, whatever it is. Yeah, that weird watch children signs on. It's a sign. So really isn't that difficult to be psychic. They just aren't going to let you in on it. Because that's how they steal your money. And they're not going to tell you the other part, how to stop them from harming your kids and that kind of thing. They can curse your kid and then somebody gets their mind possessed and they come and harm your kid. They're the devil that caused it. And they gloat at you. You don't know how to raise your kids, but they turned out in number, including their church, to curse your kids. Because you don't go to their church, but you go to their church, it's worse for you. Right? They steal your credit and maybe trickle it back to you. I would hope this guy's going to go, but I guess not. I'll have to sneak around here, I guess, and get going. Thought that guy was next, but I'll sit on the other side of the road. Maybe it was a sheriff's license plate. Sometimes people don't want to actually, when one person goes, the other person, like not a stop sign, it's like a major road, both sides feeding into a major highway. And he didn't want to go or she didn't want to go, but sometimes it's just something like stupid like that. But again, it could be respect. You go. Florida Sheriff's Association plate. They owe me. They owe me. Now, see, what's the name? At least I don't think he was over the edge. I didn't see anything. DeSantis did the right thing. He told that woman that her behavior was not tolerated, but he didn't go overboard. He didn't belabor it, because we don't want to make an enemy. We don't want to radicalize. We don't want to trigger, but we want to be firm and consistent. Sound familiar? Correctional officer. Right. Thank you, Larry. That's how you run a unit. That's how you run a president, actually. I don't think people at that level understand that part. By the time they get up there, maybe they never did. Maybe just if you don't understand, you get promoted. Right. Thank you, Larry. So, Larry, Ken Starr used to call me Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller? Military Intelligence. Military Intelligence, LLER. All right. So I have to get something. It's kind of opening up. I had bought some stuff that didn't work out, and it worked out today, which means I got forward to something that was like effing me for the longest. For like 4 months, just wow. But at least I can return the other stuff because it's Amazon. Oh, it was just trash. It just barely used it, and it's just gone. And I have two sets of it, and it's just I paid a lot more money. But again, you're supposed to see that you need to pay a lot more money to get anywhere. You're not supposed to buy something and just have it. Like for me, if it lasted a year, I'd have been fine. But and one I didn't even use. So that was a good sign. I have to get some vinyl flooring. Yeah, they blocked me the last time I was there. I couldn't think of it. And I probably should have went to a couple different places to look. But I was actually at Lumber, or what were they, Liquidators, and I think they might have vinyl sheet flooring remnants. I'm not sure. Yeah, I had to stop in to check. But I didn't, I was in Cranberry and I could have went over there. But again, it was blocking me in Cranberry to remember everything. I had to go shopping a couple times. Right. Everything's metaphysical. Right. So we need to get the judges on board again, because it goes one direction then the other direction. So I know what's Governor Tina Kotet or something. I don't remember her last name, but Governor Tina in Oregon, the Democratic Party there realized it doesn't work not to do anything. Right. So, well, the idea is to continue with the criminal justice system, but adjust the sentencing to fit their addiction. Now, at a certain point, it's an expensive program, and again, even in the federal government, we get people that are sentenced a couple times in 10 years, or a few times in 10 years, or even coming back on, getting sentenced a couple times, coming back on probation, narcotics addiction, bank robbers, notoriously narcotics addiction. Or gambling habit or something like that. So they'll get, usually it's pre-trial release. They'll pre-trial release them to a rehab detox center. My thought is that we use that Missouri approach thing, and then we bring them into a nice facility that's based upon the Missouri approach. But again, if they're not going to program correctly, and people who've been in prison and jail know what that means. If they're not going to program correctly, then we're going to put them somewhere else. But again, we do give them a chance, and it may not work the first time, may not work the second time, but catch the third time. So again, the judge has to evaluate each case, and then if they don't agree with the judge, they appeal it. But it's kind of a diversion program, but probably not going to be an absolute diversion program. I mean, something's going to go on the record. We need the addiction on the record. Okay. And we need to know that we gave them that program. Well, we're working to heal what's broke. Again, the addiction's pretty bad. It's not, again, we're not talking about 30 years ago. We're not talking even about 15 years ago. It's pretty bad. So we need to fix that. It's nice to keep them alive with Narcan and all of that. But, we need to get somewhere with it. And I believe the Missouri approach is that I think a lot of it's metaphysical. So when I say metaphysical, you can engage, and I explained this over the years. I don't know if they blocked it or not. You can engage in physical activity and trigger metaphysics. So if you apply enough honest program, again, you can't apply false program or it won't work as well. Right? And Satan will actually succeed certain people in the false programs. Just go see it worked over there. So it's this person. There's something wrong with this person. Missouri approach removes that. Again, that was my approach before I even think Missouri, because I started in 2005. They started a little bit later, I think. Or maybe it was the same time. I don't know. Elon started the same time with the spaceship stuff as me, I think. So again, the idea is we build those centers based upon the Missouri approach. Security is, going to be maintained. But generally, what they do in there, it has certain connections. If you see different programs like the 12-step and Alcoholics Anonymous, the peer group, the family versus the peer group, right? So again, we'll have to use some sort of peer, and then we'll look for sponsors if we can. Maybe even sponsors get something, like a little pay or something. But we have to maintain quality control. We don't want it to be, some heroin dealer stealing from the government
telling us he's counseling people or she's counseling people, and they're actually dealing heroin or something like that on the government dole. That's happened before. Well, it'll be the inpatient and then the outpatient, essentially what it is. But again, we call that in custody, out custody. It means the same thing, just about. But again, the idea is, you put them, like somebody's in public housing, you put them out because they're using narcotics or something. It doesn't work. It makes it worse. It doesn't fix anything, right? So the same idea with the idea of putting them out of the program. If they're using, we put them out of housing because we don't want to do that. We want to, because this is where we messed up. Again, something's wrong. Again, and if, independent of the Missouri approach, Hashem and I were discussing these programs. Right? So again, maybe Christians made the Missouri approach. I don't know, like real Christians instead of fake ones. Very few and far between. But there were more real Christians back then than today. Like McVeigh just came up, and I think I had another cue with Bomberman or Bomberwoman. Street tacos. Got to keep track of my stuff because I'm not. To some degree. I mean, you don't have to. Right. Yeah, there's something I missed maybe to speak about. Emergency vehicle entrance. So it's out there. McVeigh, emergency vehicle entrance. Street tacos, possibly. I'm not sure. Street meant something. Again, double park is an issue. Make sure we aren't letting people just... So security, turn up security. We can't let people... Oh, Trump. Yeah, something come about Trump. Again, an assassination type of thing. I can't remember the exact one. Right. When I was Googling something, then his assassination stuff came up, but I wasn't directly Googling that. Right. So again, a lot of times we do focus on vehicles, and by the grace of God and due diligence, it doesn't happen, or they see that they can't do it. So if they're watching us and we don't allow vehicles to double park, we don't allow the hazard lights in front of a federal building or a state building or whatever it is, then we can't get it. They're going to come out, Right. So again, security queue up, Trump protection up, presidential protection up, and maybe cabinet also. I think you're seeing that the cabinet is at risk also. Okay, Larry. Now, heal it. Again, there's stress out there. That's another problem of that whole anti-ICE thing. It's creating stress in people's minds that don't really exist. That doesn't really exist. Right? It's not, it's just, they don't need to be there. Well, if they ran to actually protect the people that might be worthy of protection, that ICE may have, gone over a little bit on. And again, everybody has their opinions on that. The election, Trump won. There was obviously an immigrant mandate there. That was probably one of the few mandates he actually had instead of all the ones that he says he had. That's actually probably one of the few real mandates, right? Now, again, it's going to take time for us to come around. I'm hoping it does. We don't know. Well, Biden never built the real economy. He just built the propped up economy and kept propping up. But if you notice, what the hell? I mean, all that money to the fraud. And then, of course, narco money. And people that are narcotics distributors, they used to come up. I don't know, it stopped, and I don't think they stopped. They used to come up, besides the narcotics distribution, they came up getting public assistance and SNAP and all that while they were dealing drugs. That was kind of their cover story. They didn't have to work. Oh, he's on Snap, and some sort of other thing. I think they brought up some what they said was fraud on the Jews. They were, on some sort of government assistance, and they had like 9 kids, and each kid got them $200. But again, I don't think they're defrauding the system. You may see it as unethical, but it's not like the same thing. And this is what we run into all the time with these type of extremist uh, entities, is that they're trying to say something. Again, we would say apples and oranges or something like that, but a lot of times it's like apples and coffee. It has nothing to do. One doesn't have to do anything with the other. And again, when he's interviewing people, people aren't just going to tell him, "Okay, what do you do for a living?" Hmm. And then they act like they're trying to hide something from him, just like Ross. I think it's a joke. Wasn't that the law enforcement joke? I'm a botanist. I work with plants. Informant. Right. So again, she didn't get the punchline. But his neighbor sounds pretty radical. If it really is his neighbor, it could be a Washington Post, or I guess is the magazine, or newspaper, Washington Times, whatever it is. Could be one of their people just making up bullshit. Yeah, I could have married in Delaware Valley. This sucks so bad. Oh, they had me blocked so bad. It was not amazing. It was horrible. Well, the lights just turned on. You were there when the lights turn on. Okay, if you go back to War of the Worlds, and there's a certain way they looked, these light poles and light posts, especially in parking lots and on highways, sometimes look like them. That's to let you know the aliens are watching, like the real aliens. But again, it could be illegal aliens too, depending how it comes through. But I know the alien entities are here, the cosmic entities. Actually, I didn't. I don't now. It was coming up, but so the space psychologist. So what happens is when somebody wakes up, they may not know what's speaking to them. They don't know about the heavenly host, right? Or the space psychologist, as they call it. So again, essentially, the heavenly host makes sense to be called the space something, because the way that's the heavens. Don't you understand what was happening? Again, I have all the information. So they're sitting here on Earth, and they look up in the sky, and they see the heavenly entities, the space psychologists and things like that, or they can sense them. All right, I got to get in here and get this done. I got to get the floor protected before I do any type of cutting in there. I have all my other floors protected, but I forgot that I needed one piece here, but I couldn't figure it out. I kept looking for a smaller piece, but I actually needed a bigger piece for my other room, so I could take the smaller piece out of that room, put it in that room, have a little bit more vinyl protection on the floor. Right. And then I'll get all my legs on my cabinets done and build the rest of my cabinets. It's all going to work great. I just have a ton of locations to organize. I don't really need more than one room, but the other rooms will have cabinets and have some space, tables and stuff like that. Craft rooms. I have a craft room and then like a storage room. But like the things that I should have been in this type of life 20 something years ago, where everything was working and starting to fit together. I mean, it's not absolutely working, but everything was fitting together. So they'll go to hell for it. Again, they're going to learn that this life meant nothing really, and all the riches they strove for was a waste of their afterlife. Well, because they're pretty much corrupt, most of them.